Thank you for coming in, Jason.
Thank you, Ben.
Please, could you tell us today a little bit more about what you wrote in regards to the comments from the Premier about Scarborough being run down? I was very interested to hear that, and perhaps if you could introduce yourself to the people of Scarborough in particular.
Sure, Ben. Well, Jason Robbins. I'm a long-term resident, ratepayer of Scarborough. I grew up in the area. I surfed down the beach there all my life. I became active within community groups several years ago, and as part of that, it rolled on towards helping the community at council level. So I am a councillor with the City of Stirling in the Coastal Ward, which includes Scarborough, Trig, North Beach, Watermans and Carina. Obviously my particular interest is in Scarborough because I love the area and I love the coast.
And you live there?
And I live there, so I've had my own interest, which is important. And so the Premier's comments, much like the other ministers' comments over the last couple of years, Minister Haynes, Minister Cr, they all point to the same thing, that Scarborough is run down and it does look dilapidated and does need a lift. And I don't think anyone has any disagreements with that. And the problem has been that successive state governments, both Liberal and Labor, have never considered putting money into their tourist nodes, and in particular Scarborough, which every year brings $100,000 from tourist revenue. So there's a couple of points there, and we don't disagree with the Premier in respect of it being run down. The city has been working hard towards having the Seas master plan, Scarborough Environment master plan, which is the overall view of Scarborough, what it will look like in 20 years' time. We've actively engaged consultants, we've had the local MLAs look at it, the government's looked at it, all those types of things, and it's been ratified at council. And it now comes down to the funding to be able to do that. And the biggest dilemma the City of Stirling has, in my view, and this is only my view, that they don't have the funds to work on large capital projects across the city. And these types of tourist nodes need an injection of state capital for them to be able to get off the ground, get the relative infrastructure in place, so then the development can occur. So his comments seem to come at a time when, in my view anyway, that they're looking for some type of statement, and making a statement and keeping their political faces, if you like, in the public realm. And by doing that, creates a bit of fervour, and perhaps potentially they may look at subsidising the capital works there, and it may be a case that it may be softening the blow for the West Australian taxpayer by bringing this up. So I'm not completely against what the Premier said, but what we would like to see is actually the state
investing
some capital funding to invest in the area, to make it grow and help the vibrancy back where it once had.
I guess one of the criticisms that the other suburbs will levy is why invest in Scarborough and not in, say, Maylands? And I guess the answer to that is that Scarborough has the ability to bring lots of national and international events if the infrastructure was there. And we've seen that in things like the life-saving championships and lots of other uses of infrastructure in Scarborough, like the investment in the amphitheatre by the City of Stirling. And so if there was more of this kind of investment, it would be a revenue plus thing for the whole of Western Australia, because I think what I read in the Stirling comment was that Scarborough is not just used by Scarborough people, but it's used and loved by many Perth people, and in fact West Australian people from all over West Australia could come and use the facilities in Scarborough, and they don't like to see them run down. Would you say that's a fair comment, and would you like to elaborate on that?
sure. That's absolutely spot on. I think all we have to do is Google Scarborough Beach and you can get millions of signs and blogs, all those types of things relative to the area. So it has an international appeal, and it does. And we have all types of international tourists come there. And it's important, I think, that it presents well. And part of that presentation is part of the state's responsibility, because the tourist dollars basically go into the state coffers.
Yes.
And that comes in many ways, from the plane tickets, taxes, restaurants, accommodation, all those types of things. So, yeah, it's a well-known international destination.
Yes. It's a matter of state government seeing the worthwhileness of the investment, isn't it?
Correct. Yes, I recently had a letter printed in the West Australian, often writing just as Jason Robbins, and it was relative to the waterfront project and the $400 million that's being spent down there, and actually putting some of those funds into the existing tourist nodes where the infrastructure has deteriorated. And that may include Fremantle, it can include a whole lot of different areas, but in my view, we're concentrating funds into one place when we could actually be recognising our current nodes and bringing those up to scratch as well.
Yes. Just a different topic. What can you tell us about the idea of tourist precincts being? I think there's one at Rockingham. I think Midland's getting it or has got it. Perth has got it. What about Scarborough? What's happening to Scarborough as a designated tourist precinct? Is it happening or going to happen?
In fact, I think, from my recollection, it is actually classified as a tourist node, although it doesn't have the official title that goes with it. I mean,
and also
businesses can operate 7 days a week.
On Sundays
and all those types of things.
But they choose
so I think
not
it has to do with shopping hours and those types of things as to the naming of it, if you like, or giving it a title.
Because I know that the Luna Shopping Centre always shuts down on Sunday, but maybe that's a commercial decision. But certainly would be good for the tourism there. If you could tell us, please, about the police law and order thing in Scarborough, that would be good.
Sure, Ben. Okay. We have thrown around for some time in regards to having a permanent police post down at Scarborough for, say, 6 months of the year. And that's purely for a constant visual deterrent down there. We've had situations over the last couple of years where there's been riots down there, but I've also had on my journeys go around speaking to the various shop owners and finding out what their concerns are in regards to security. A lot of the shop owners have to defend themselves in their shops against drunken use, against just drunks and in general.
And people on substances.
Yeah. So there's been a problem there relative to that doesn't seem to be getting any better. So the idea of centralisation of police services and those types of things, in my view, haven't worked. And therefore we could consider as another strategy just to try to have separate police posts around the various areas. Splitting it up and I suppose taking it back to the grassroots type of policing that my great uncle used to do in South Perth many years ago. So bringing that type of visual deterrent down to the beach, and also then having the police the ability to act quickly when things occur. There's a great CCTV coverage down at Scarborough now that the state government has helped bankroll. So that's excellent for retrospective policing. when you want to catch people and all those types of things, it's fantastic. But what it doesn't do is stop the frontline crimes occurring, which we need to do. We have to try and stop it from all different angles. I don't think it's just one solution to fix it. So the idea is to try and come up with other solutions. We've also thrown about with the other businesses just having open forums and getting together and discussing them. Over the time, on top of that, I've actually had other state government agencies have come to us and in agreement with my statements about the security down there. I won't go into naming who they are because that's probably not the right thing to do, but there seems to be a common knowledge out there, but not an acceptance at state level that that's what occurs. So the idea of the police post is really just to bring back some community policing. The Scarborough Police Station, I know, is getting an upgrade, but when it comes to the weekends, if you're in trouble, you can't go to the front of the police station and start knocking on the door because you won't get an answer. The operations are out the back, and the idea is to actually have a visual presence down the beach 24/7 for that period of time.
And what have been the objections so far, or the good question is, why hasn't it happened yet? What's blocking it?
There appears to be opposition in a few ways. One of them that's mentioned quite a bit is that if you have a police post, somebody comes through, they've grazed their knee, hypothetically, and whilst the police are looking after the person with the grazed knee, some frontline crime can be occurring at that time, and they're concentrating on the actual grazed knee, if you like. But the idea of the post, the way I see it, is it's more of a operations centre, that they have a base there, and they may have a person at the desk, but at that same time there's 2 or 3 other police that are actually out there patrolling on the beat, on the horses, whatever it may be. So yes, you'd probably get the people coming through with their grazed knees, but as long as you have people outside of there patrolling, it's still a known place that they can go to, particularly with your tourists. If you look at your tourists, they don't know where Scarborough Police Station is, but they're down at Scarborough Beach.
Yes.
So why wouldn't we have something down there?
And will it be the Minister of Police that makes that final decision, or the Commissioner? Who decides?
I think it's the Minister's role, and everything mentioned so far at state level has been a no, and that's from the Minister of Police and everyone else. Even the local MLA has said no. So it may be a budget thing, but I look at it as trying to come up with solutions to a problem, and you might have to have multiples of that to achieve a result, but there's no harm in trying.
Very good. On another topic, what are the next big events coming up for Scarborough? I noticed the concert, the Summerfest concert that was sponsored, I think, by the City of Stirling was very successful. It was very well patronised, especially on the same night was the opening night of the festival, or the Perth Festival, with all the feathers dropping down in Perth. Scarborough still had a massive turnout for that Summerfest, end of Summerfest concert. So what other big events are on the horizon for Scarborough?
Well, I know that the city works hard at gaining events. So we had the Ironman series was this year as well. We had the Sets on the Beach, was a series of concerts, and they've been running for a few years. And they're always well received. And to be honest, I don't think I've ever heard a complaint in regards to those concerts, and they're big events. So if we get a track record in providing different avenues, whether it be entertainment, sporting, or what have you, will open up things further to the, not only statewide type of communities, but international communities. And Scarborough has that potential. So I know that the city's constantly working on those types of events. I know that they did endeavour to try the Red Bull race, but they weren't successful in that, which was a shame. That would have been pretty interesting down there. It's such a good place for any type of event that we'd be mad not to chase whatever's out there.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Jason, for coming in today.